Hello people of the internet, it is your boy Kishuishi, and today we are back at it again with another video live from the studio of my car while I'm on my lunch break. And just a forewarning for anybody who's taking these videos ultra super seriously, just know this is like for infotainment purposes. Your boy's just spewing stuff off the noggin, no prior planning or writing down of things when I make videos like this. Anything with my face, those are gonna be the ones with the more effort put into it, where I actually constructively try to make my argument. But these are just for fun times, me just rambling and ranting about different thoughts and ideas I have while being bored at work. So today I wanted to talk about transgenderism and looksmaxxing and how it's like basically laying the groundwork for transhumanism. If you don't know what transhumanism is, it's basically something that is trying to be popularized by Peter Thiel, where humans start enhancing themselves cybernetically, to put it that way. Why use your regular legs when you can cut them off and have the little blade thingies that those Paralympic runners use? Because technically those blade thingies are more efficient than the human leg. Think of it as that concept. So we're gonna walk it back. And I know I released a video recently talking about how I am an ally to trans men, which, you know, I'm not gonna take that back. I am an ally. Anybody who going to choose a harder path in life than what they have will always be respected by me, you know. But we're not gonna touch on that too much. But I believe the whole point of transgenderism kind of bleeds into looksmaxxing, where you basically create propaganda instilled into people at a young age that their body is futile, or not futile, but they're basically saying that their body is not as good as it should be, or it could be better or improved on. And I think that type of propaganda is very damaging to society, because what you end up doing is convincing people to, for the lack of better words, sterilize themselves for the sake of looking a certain way, to be presented a certain way. Like, I believe we should all learn to love ourselves in our skins, what we're assigned, whatever the fuck we're assigned at birth. I believe the best course of action is to just look at the cards you've been dealt in life and saying, hey, you know what? I might be this, but I want to be that. But just because I'm this doesn't mean I can't be happy. You know, like, let's say I was, okay, I'll just make it more personal, I guess. I was born a boy. I was born a little black boy in Jamaica, right? I've grown up hearing that being a white girl is like so much better. Yes, being a white girl might have its privileges and stuff, but being a black boy also has its privileges. But if I just sit around and listen to the propaganda of, oh, you can change and become whatever you are. If you're unhappy with the way you are, you should just change it. Eventually the propaganda is going to become a part of my identity. And I think that's what happens with these types of gender identity politics, is it's just a bunch of people who are indoctrinated at a young age that this is the proper thing. And moreover, to go into more specific details, the whole bullshit about biology versus advanced biology, this bleeds back into one of the videos I made recently, where I'm saying some people, or like anti-intellectuals, basically are the most susceptible to falling for propaganda. Because if you can make an experiment or research study sound very sound and accurate, you can convince anyone of anything. Because, like, no, I'm not gonna go do like a 14-hour research binge into why necessarily having a penis doesn't mean you're a man. And you see, the thing about propaganda versus like undisputed facts is that the whole point of propaganda is to convince you against undisputed facts. Literally, oh, you guys ever gotten that fucking random ad on YouTube a couple months back saying, oh, there is food in Gaza, it's all a lie, something Israel Foundation, whatever the fuck? That's literally what propaganda is. Propaganda is literally made to convince you of what is actually happening. So if you fall for all the bullshit of like, oh, you know, you should do this and that, and you know, sometimes you could be two-spirit. Like, I'm not to disrespect two-spirit, because whenever it comes to like religion and theological beliefs or like mythology, in those cases, you know, not to say what their belief systems are based on is in reality, but I would rather listen to a fucking Native American shaman who's literally literal cultural legacy has been on the planet for thousands of years or hundreds of years, be natives in America. You tell me about the Roanoke tribes or whatever the fuck, I would trust anyone from that demographic more than a motherfucker who comes from a university and is gonna teach little kids, hey, you know, you like the color pink? You might be gay. Nigga, I'm just a boy who likes the color pink, nigga. I like salmon. It's salmon, by the way. Why the fuck are you trying to turn me into a fat? Just because I like the color pink doesn't mean I like to get shit up my butt. But because society is trying to indoctrinate people into becoming weaker versions of themselves, that's literally what enshittification is. Enshittification. Everything is a worse version of itself and you're gonna like it. It's basically what enshittification is. And yes, once again, I did say I am a ally to trans men and I will still be ally to trans men. However, do I think society would prosper if every man became a trans woman and every woman became a trans man? Fuck no. Would all be half-baked, weak, and fucking sterile. And it's one of those things where if you really think about it even further, if something can't be applied across the board for everyone, that means it shouldn't be encouraged on a larger scale. For example, cigarette kills you. Smoking cigarettes give you cancer, but smoking cigarettes is also a cool thing to do, by some people's opinions. So am I gonna go around and tell everybody, hey, you should smoke cigarettes because it makes you look cool, and just completely disregard the side effects? No. If you want to be a part of the minority that smoke cigarettes and look cool, you can do that, but don't encourage other people to do that shit. And the whole thing with looksmaxxing is it's like a new version of the whole transgender propaganda, turning all the women into men and all the men into women. Looksmaxxing is essentially bridging the gap where instead of making just the really flamboyant or like the people that are very insecure about their gender identity sterile, now you're making people that are just regular Joe Schmoes who may or may not have a negative canthal tilt or have some gonial whatever the fuck or some maxillar deform, whatever the fuck these terms these fucking incels use. Yes, if you're a looksmaxer, you're a fucking incel. Why? Because the only reason why you're looksmaxing is because you can't get pussy. Like, let's talk about it. If like, bro, you do not know how much I despise people that are looksmaxing, because you're literally you're if anything, you're worse than the people that are selling or propagandizing transgenderism. Why? You're convincing literally everyday people who might be attractive to another average person, hey, you're not pretty enough, you should do meth so you don't eat as much food and you get skinnier, and just be a little pretty boy while you bone smash your fucking face into pieces just so a girl can look at you and be like, I'd like to sleep with him. But it's all manufactured, because the only types of girls who likes looksmaxers, you want to know what they are? They're OnlyFans models. And whatever you want to believe, I think women who go into the whole OnlyFans industry are like just severely mentally ill women that are teetering the line on being lesbians, but they can't fully be lesbian because, you know, they need men to fund their lifestyle, so they still interact with men to some capacity to make the bread, but they're not actually attracted to men. I believe OnlyFans models are not attracted to men in any sense of the word. So when you have these motherfuckers like Clavicular hooking up with these girls in the clubs who may or may not be doing OnlyFans, these women don't like men. Why the fuck would you want to aspire to be a dude who hangs out with women who don't like men, who's only having sex with him or only giving him validation because she's getting validation out of it? And when you really sit back and think about all things considered with transgenderism and looksmaxxing and how it's basically just telling people, hey, you're not good enough, you should change something about yourself to make yourself feel 1% better, it turns you into the product that they're selling. You're no longer buying stuff to add to your life. You're buying things to change your identity, to fill into a mold that you were never supposed to be fit into to begin with. And the reason why I'm saying these things are gonna lead into transhumanism, okay, today it's, hey, I'm a boy but I want to be a girl, please remove my penis. And then tomorrow it's, hey, I want to be a little bit taller, please break my legs. And then next thing you know, motherfuckers are getting cybernetic enhancements for no fucking reason. Because yes, and I'm not gonna lie, when I was much younger, like in my 20s when the game Cyberpunk 2077 came out, I would have been one of those I was actually a pro transhuman transhumanism person, because I was just thinking, like, yeah, if I, like, why wouldn't I remove my biological hand and replace it with something metallic with chrome, you know? Why wouldn't I just go fill up with chrome? But if anything, if we've learned anything from Cyberpunk, from both edge runners and the game, is that the closer you are, the closer society sticks with nature and stray away from technology being completely intertwined with biology, the better the outcome would be. Because as you can, as it is right now, our society is very techno-feudalist. If you don't know what techno-feudalism is, it's essentially fucking Arasaka Tower owning everything, you know, Amazon owning everything. Tech billionaires are our overlords, and you know, we have different serfs. Those are like the everyone who participates in social media, or like peasants and part of the medieval feudal serfdom. And then you have different feudal lords beneath said kings in the tech industry, and those would be like your content creators who make a lot of money, or people that be selling your fucking data out. So the future is now. The only thing we can do moving forward to making sure the future stays bright is by rejecting it. Yes, the race, this is the one time racism actually is the correct solution, because racism for the longest has been pitting black, white, yellow, purple, whatever fucking color your skin is. It's been pitting humans against each other, who respectfully, you know, race doesn't really make sense, because what happened to the whole point of the human race? You know, everyone is a human, right? And as humans, I think we should be vehemently racist against them motherfucking clankers. So in the future, if the propaganda keeps getting stronger and we start having motherfuckers actually start integrating with transhumanism, and I didn't even get into the whole enhanced games with Peter Thiel, where he wants to fucking get roided up athletes to perform in sports to see if they'll push the human limits. But then, oh, won't you look, turns out most of the time it doesn't really matter, because those records aren't breaking. We've already reached peak human performance. Yeah, be racist. Yeah, your grandfather got a little pacemaker in his chest. Clanker lover. Oh, your uncle got his leg blown off and he's using a prosthetic leg. Clanker lover. I'm just joking. This was just food for thought, you know. I just think the foundation's already there. I don't know if this little YouTube video is gonna make a big revolution. Might just, you know, I'll do my little big one, my little 400 views maybe. But, you know, just think about it. And for anybody who wants to argue with me, suck my dick. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna go eat my food now.
Bonnie, are you okay?
I'm fine now, Mr. Marston. Thank you. Thank you. What the hell took you so long, you stupid man?
Well, you weren't exactly helping me.
If you think I'm gonna lower myself by making a joke about being all tied up, you got another thing coming. Come on.